between each item is pretty big, and this is pretty small. So let's fix things, and then I will show you the circle avatar, which is a pretty cool widget. So what we'll do first thing first is, you see how this little image is going straight into the app bar when we scroll, as soon as we scroll, so it's really so close. So what we need to do is create some sort of space between both of them. We will go inside the home page, and inside this one we have the hero widget, which will add a sized box over. And maybe you wonder, okay, but why don't I use the padding for this? So let's use it. If we put a vertical padding of 10.0, right? What will happen? When I scroll, you can see that we have some sort of it's called a padding, but it's like a black bar, so it's kind of weird. And it does the same thing with the bottom. You can see right there, and we don't want this. So what we'll do instead is we won't use the padding, because the padding reduces the available space. Instead of using the padding, we'll remove this, and I will save. We'll use a sized box. So over the hero widget, we'll say sized box, height of maybe 10.0, and let's put all the commas like this and save. Great. So this is already better. When we start to scroll, we don't have the image right into the app bar. Okay? The next thing we need to do is to reduce the space between each item, and we can do this inside the container widget. So I will press Command and I will click this. So you can press on Mac, on Windows, you can press Control and click. Next, we will go inside the padding, so the container padding, and instead of using vertical, I think it was 20. Is it 20? Padding, okay, sorry, it's this one. So instead of using 10, we'll use 5. Okay, this is the 20. All right, perfect. And now we will use 5, so this will be already better. Next, what we can do is we can go back inside the home page, and we will add a little padding right there, because right now the space between both of them is not really the space between the image and the first one. So we will add another sized box right under and save. And this looks already better. Maybe what we can do, I will restart the application just to see if everything is fine. Let's go inside, register, that's good. But I think it's still a little bit too much. So instead I will use 5. I will go inside the container widget. And what I will do is, for the vertical, let's put 0 and save. Let's see what happens. So when we put 0, you can see that we have the cart, which creates some sort of automatic padding. So the cart have a padding by default. So that's why what we'll do is, maybe we can just say padding inside the cart. So elevation, margin, surface thin, ship, margin. Let's use margin, edge and sets dot 0. Let's try this. Sorry. And now you can see that all of them are now closed, are very close to the other. So you can, if you want, change this, because the card will automatically create some sort of padding of margin. All right. So what we'll do is I will remove this. I will just put 2.0 and save. And right now with this, it looked pretty much better of what it was previously. All right. So we have this. Next, we need to go inside the profile widget. And what we'll do is we will add a circle avatar, like I told you at the beginning of the video, inside the profile page.dart, and we use inside the children circle avatar. And now let's put the comma and save. This is the circle avatar. You can change the size by saying radius and maybe 50.0, and you can change what is inside. So we'll say background image. And you probably think like, okay, I need to say image.assets and then write the path. You are right, but with the circle avatar, there is something a little bit weird that I will show you after. So instead of, we will put the path first. So I will say assets/image/ I will use this image, the background.jpg, okay? Because I want to show you how the circle avatar will automatically put this image as a circle. So the background image, we use this and we say bg.jpg. Great, but now we have a problem. We have this thing saying blah, 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 we can't use this thing. Instead, we will need to use the reverse. I know it's pretty weird, but you will have to just remember somehow. So it's asset image. But you will use this widget pretty much only inside the circle avatar. So that's it. So when we save, now we have our circle avatar. So this could be your profile image or something like this. All right. So that's pretty good. Maybe you could write some sort of, you could create more stuff to make your application look better, but all of this is all redundant. So it will be always the same thing. So I don't need to show you again and again and again, because this will just waste your time. All right. So for now, we have talked about pretty much everything inside the package section, and I will see you in the next module. But the next module, I will say nothing, but the next module is pretty cool. So we'll see you in the next one. Bye. Okay, so you will see this module is really cool, okay? We will talk, first, we will talk about the fractionally sized box, but in the next video, we will talk about the layout builder. And this is where you will see that it's going from beginner to advanced stuff, okay? What is the layout builder? First thing first, the layout builder that we will use in the next video is just a widget that allows you to have the information about the width and the height of the screen. And by having this information, you are able to, by example, I opened an iPad. I opened the entire project on an iPad. And you can see that this looked pretty stretched out and it looks super weird. So what we will do later is we will say if the screen is bigger than X amount, then I want to change the visual. And for this, you can use the layout builder. But before I show you the layout builder, I need to show you another widget. And it's called the fractionally sized box. The fractionally sized box, what we'll do is we'll go inside the login page, which is this page, and we will need to make it look better. Because on an iPad, it looked really strange. So for this, you can go and wrap the entire column. I will say refactor, and I will use wrap with widget. We'll say fractionally sized box. So the fractionally sized box have some sort of width factor. And the width factor, if I say 0.3, this will take only 30% of the screen for the width. All right, you get it? And if we put maybe 70, this will take 70% of the screen. So let's put 50% and now it looks just better, okay? We could do this for all the other widgets, but it's just, you understand the point. And if you understand the point, that's good, right? So we don't need to waste time doing the same thing 500 times. So that's good. But in the next video, I want to show you how you can create this more responsive, like more a responsive app, which let's jump into the next video and not waste time. That's it. See you in the next one. Bye. Okay, so in the previous video, I've tried to explain you at the end something, but it's just sometimes simpler to just show instead of telling. And this is what we'll do. We will use the layout builder and you will understand right away. Let's wrap the entire fractionally sized box with the layout builder. So because the layout builder is a weird widget, it won't work with the refactor, blah, blah, blah. So I will cut the entire fractionally sized box. So from there till this thing, I cut all of this, okay? Cut. And then I use the layout builder. Great. So the builder will be the context constraints, which will return what we had previously. Oops, sorry for that. So it will return what we had previously. So I will just paste back what we had, put the semicolon, and save. Okay, so you can see that right now we have the layout builder and we have the fractionally sized box, and this is the builder. Okay, next what we'll do is we have access to these constraints. You can define the type if you want, so it look more like professional somehow, and you can use the constraints in order to say if you want to split the size of the screen by 50% or not, and you can say constraints dot max width. And if the screen is bigger, if the screen is bigger than 500, then it will be 50% of the screen for the width. Otherwise, it will be 100%. It will be the entire screen and it will act normally. So let's save. And now, because the screen is bigger than 500, let's find out what is the size of the screen. I will add a red point. I will restart. And now if we go inside, next, you can see that the width of the screen currently it's 992. Okay, so we will say now if the screen is bigger than 1000, which is false. So this should go inside 1 and it should act normally. So if I restart the application, you see that now this is going to act normally. So if the screen is bigger than 1000, then it will act as 50%, otherwise it will be 1. But this doesn't make sense right now, so we will put back this to maybe 500, and we will see later if it makes sense with the iPhone. So we can, what I will do behind the scene is I will close this thing and I will reopen the iPhone so you don't have to just watch me doing it. That's about it, and I see you in the next video. Bye. Okay, so the layout builder is a pretty cool widget, but do you really need to use this inside every application you create? Not really, because this is more if you want to create an iPad and an iPhone application. That will work for both of them. But usually you just want to start with Android and iPhone, so you don't really need to use the layout builder. But what if you need to have the size of the screen? You can do this without using the layout builder. And it's a little bit faster. So, okay, a lot of words, but not a lot of code. So let's code right now. Media query dot of context. So of context dot size dot width. Okay, and this, what it is a double. So you can say double width screen, for example, is equal to media query blah 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 blah. So this will give you the information of the width of the screen. You can put height if you want, but for now we need the width. So we can just use this and put it inside instead of this. Instead of using the constraint max width, okay, we can just put this and it will do just the same thing. So you have still the screen of the width, but yeah, that's pretty much it. But the thing is, why do I show you two things? Usually I like to just show you the best practices so you don't have to like learn a lot of things for nothing. But for now, this, you kind of need to learn both of them. The layout builder will be more useful if you want to create some sort of iPad and iPhone application. But if you just need to have the information about the width of the screen, then you can use just the media query. So that's about it. I wanted to show you both ways to do it because these are pretty interesting. That's about it. See you in the next one. Bye. Okay, so this one might blow your mind, and it's pretty cool. So you can see how currently the application, when we go inside, this thing is pretty big and it doesn't really look good. Okay, so when we go inside, it's still the same thing, but it's weird. Maybe it would be better if the height of the thing will be smaller. So for this, we can use an aspect ratio. The aspect ratio will create some sort of, by example, a resolution. You know, when we go a video online is usually this resolution, 1920 by 1080. Okay, screen size, whatever, you understand what I mean? So you can use an aspect ratio and give it this information in order to display the size of this thing. And this is what we'll do. So we'll remove this and we will go inside the homepage. In the homepage, we have the hero widget. So let's go inside the hero widget. And inside this one, we should have the image. So we have the image, the clip are rect. We will do it over the clip rect. So let's refactor and wrap with a widget, which will be the aspect ratio. Great. The aspect ratio will require the aspect ratio, and this thing you can give it exactly that. So it can be 1920 by 1080. So let's do this. 1920, but you will need to divide by 1080. So now if we save, you will see that this is really like a basic screen 1920 by 1080. It's the same like format, okay? So next, what we need to do is inside the image asset, we'll say fit boxfit.cover and save. So now you can see that this is now an aspect ratio of 1920 divided by 1080. But you can use something else. Maybe you can put 2 and save. What will happen if you put 2? 2 just mean that for each height, it will be the double for the width. So by example, if I say 0.5, you will see that it will be completely the invert. Now we have we need 2 width in order to be the same size of the height. So this is how you can use the aspect ratio. I will put back the 1920 divided by 1080 because I think it's pretty cool just to use this and be able to display a widget that will mimic a screen resolution. I think it's just cool. And I wanted to show you this. So you can click on it and you can see that both widgets will now have this aspect ratio. A pretty cool widget to know in order to create some sort of responsive layout. That's it for this one, and I see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Okay, so let's talk about the expanded and flexible widget. These are pretty cool. So let's first go inside the setting page. We will need to create another page so I'm able to show you pretty much everything about these widgets. Okay, so in the setting page, we have some elevated button, some fill button. We will change one of them and navigate into another page. So I will say show flexible and expanded and save. Okay, so when we will click on this button, it will go to another page. And we can do this with a navigator. Do we have one available? Maybe in the welcome page. Yeah, we can use this thing. We'll copy this navigator and close and go in the setting page, paste the navigator inside the button we created, save, and we'll go inside another page. So let's create another page and we'll call this the expanded flexible test.dart and enter. Great. So now we can import material and say stateless widget, and it will be expanded flexible test. Great. So we should instead say page. It will make more sense to reuse always the same logic because each page have the page at the end, so it will make more sense. And I will change this also by saying page. Great. So now we can use a scaffold widget. And yeah, that's about it. We will use an app bar, and then a body column like this. And now let's save. Okay, so now we can navigate inside the expanded flexible page, and I will remove this login page. I am inside the setting. I just jump into the setting, and I will say expanded flexible page. Great. So now when we click on show flexible and expanded, we are inside this page. That's good. Now I can show you how to use the expanded and the flexible. So inside the column, we will say children, and inside this one, I will say expanded. Inside the expanded, we will use a container. In the container, we'll have the colors.teal. Let's use teal for now, and let's save. Okay, so the expanded will take as much place as possible. That's the only goal of the expanded, and because we are inside a column, the expanded will take as much place as possible vertically, all right? But if you were inside a row, it will take as much place horizontally. You have to take this in consideration, and also remember that when you use flexible and expanded, you need to use them inside either a column or a row, usually, okay? Otherwise, it can create some sort of bugs. So that's good. What I want to show you next is inside a column, what you could do is you could create another expanded and call this one orange. So now let's save. Both of them will take as much place as possible, but they will share the space. If you don't want to share the space, you can tell that you can say that the flex of this expanded is twice as big. So it will take twice the space of the teal one. And you can see on the screen right now. Next, if by example you say flex 4, this one will take twice the space as this one because it's 2 times bigger. So let's save, it will do just the reverse. That's good. Now let's remove the flex. I want to show you other stuff. So this was how to create the expanded, but let's remove them and let's use a row instead. Okay? Inside the column, I will use a row and I will say children, and I would say I can just copy what I had previously. Copy and vroom, boom, 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 row and I will just paste them like this. Okay, now we have an expanded inside a row. But the thing is, we don't see them, and the reason is the expanded will take as much space as possible, but within the parent. So the parent is a row, so it will take as much place as possible horizontally. But vertically, nothing really happened. So in order to show something, you will need to put a height, and the height, let's put 20.0 for both of them, like this. And now you can see that the flexible is working once again, and it takes as much place as possible, and it shares the space. It does the same thing. Okay, that's good. Now let's do something else. The something else is we will use a flexible widget. So flexible widget. The flexible will do the same thing. So you can see that it share the space. It will share the space with the expanded, like it does, but the flexible have something different, and it will automatically shrink the child widget. So if we go inside the container, right now we don't have any child in the container, but if we put a child with a text saying hello and save, and put both of them, both child hello, you see that the expanded will still show the entire thing, but the flexible, for the orange color, it will stop right away for the child. But if the child go bigger, like this, and save, it will take all the space. Okay, this is the difference between the flexible and expanded. They are pretty similar, but sometimes you will see some difference. You will have to practice with them in order to really understand them, but I want to show you a little bit more examples. So if we take another row, I will copy this one and paste it right under. If we take another row and we change the order, let's put the flexible first and the expanded after. So I'll cut this one and paste it right before and save. Okay, I will also add a divider so you can see better. Divider, like this, and save. Okay, so what happened in this case? In this case, you can see that the second expanded, even though it's sharing the space with the flexible, the second expanded will go straight next to the first flexible. And all the available space right there is kind of used by the flexible widget, this one, the flexible widget. Okay, so I know this is weird, but what if you put in the flexible, you say, I want this to be the flex, I want it to be 4 times bigger than the expanded. You will see that the expanded will shrink. If I save, now the expanded is smaller because all the empty space is like kind of used by the flexible. Even though we don't see it, it's kind of used anyway. So this is how you use the flexible and the expanded within column and rows. Just keep in mind, when you use them, try to use them inside a row and a column. And keep in mind that when you use expanded or flexible, it will go to the same direction of the parent widget. If it's a row, it will go horizontal. And if it's a column, it will go vertical. One last thing I need to show you is what will happen if you wrap the column refactor with a sized box widget. So sized, not a sized box, but single child scroll view. So now if I save, you see that in the code, we don't have any bugs. But what if I put an expanded widget inside this? So expanded widget, and the child, let's put the same thing. So I will just copy this expanded, copy, and paste. Perfect. So now you will see that this creates an error. And the reason is the expanded will take as much place as possible vertically because it's inside a column, but we are inside a single child scroll view, which means this is infinite. So yes, this will create a bug. All right. So you need to be careful when you use expanded and flexible widget because this can create bugs inside your application. All right. So that's about it. If you want, you can keep the page. It's up to you. It doesn't really matter. So we will keep it for now. And I see you in the next one. Bye. In this module, what we'll do is we'll talk about networking. So networking is used in order to get data from the internet and display inside your phone. So, by example, you get the data from an API, and you display this inside the phone. What we'll do is we'll really go step by step, okay? Because I don't want to create a 35-minute video. I want to create little videos that are easy to understand and digestible, okay? So I just need to explain you first inside this video what we will do, okay? The big picture, and then each video will do one little step. So the first thing is we will use the board API.appbeverly.com, okay? You can use any other API if you want. It doesn't really matter, but we'll just use this one because it's pretty simple, right? Simple stuff. After this, you will need to go on HTTP. It's not this website. It's doc.flutter.dev cookbook networking fetch data. Okay, you will be able to find this page. And next, you need to use some sort of assistant AI if you want. If you don't like this, don't use it. But I highly recommend you to use this because otherwise you will be lost in the sauce later in your life. Anyway, so first thing first, we will need to put the HTTP package inside our application. So we will do this for this video at least. What you can do is inside this page, you will be able to find the HTTP package. So you can open the link in a new tab. And this is just the simple HTTP package provided by pub.dev. So let's install this inside the pubspec.yum. We'll go inside pubspec.yum and I will say Command-Shift-P, add dependency, and then boom, HTTP. And you should have something like this inside your pubspec.yum. After this, we will save and we will Flutter pubget, just like that. And now you should be able to use the HTTP package inside your Flutter app. And this is what we'll do inside the next video. So I see you in the next one. Bye. Before we start with the HTTP package, I need to tell you something. And it's inside the fetch data. If you scroll down, you will see that you need to use permission sometime, okay? The application with Android, you will need to add the permission if you want to release in production. If you are developing or debugging, it will be fine. The internet and the API will all works. But if you are publishing on the App Store, then you will need to add this. All right. So I will show you where to add this. And it's only for Android and Mac OS. So if you deploy on Mac, then you will need to do this also. But for iOS, it's fine. So let's add this inside the Android manifest. So where is this file? First, you will need to go inside your project. You can minimize everything. And you will find inside Android, you should be able to find inside application and inside source and inside main, Android manifest. So you double click on this. And this is where you need to add the used permission if you are deploying on a production. Okay. So I will copy this. And I will paste it just before the application, like this, boom. And you just make sure that is aligned with application. So in my case, it is not. So I will do this. And now everything is fine. If you don't remember how to add it, you can always go inside the Java, I think. Is it Java or, debug inside Android manifest. You will see that this debug Android manifest already have the use permission internet. So it's the same thing. We just add it inside the production one. All right, so that's good. We can close both manifest and we can start building our HTTP request. So we have added the installing in the previous video. I've shown you how to add the HTTP inside your dependencies. Now let's use it. Let's go inside example, and inside example, we will find just this little code and we will add this code inside our project. We will go inside our application. I will close the pubspec.yum and open minimize everything, open inside the pages. So inside view pages, we should have course.page, course-page.dart. Let's use this. And inside this one, we'll modify the stateless refactor and we'll use a stateful widget like this. The reason we need to do this is because we will use a init state. If you remember, the init state will trigger as soon as the page starts, it will trigger this. And then it will start building the page. So we need to get the information, get data at this point. So we'll create a function get data, void get data, like this. And then we can open the bracket and put some code inside. So now we will be able to see the response from the API inside the terminal. That's the goal at the end of this video. After this, we will work towards an application where you will see inside the application. But for now, let's keep it simple. So what do we need to do? First thing first, we can actually just copy this entire thing, and we'll just copy this instead. So let's copy this and go back inside the code. Let's paste this, and now let's remove the useless comments, and that seems pretty good. Okay, the next thing we need to do is we need to change the URL because we will use the board API documentation. So this is the website. Let's copy the website URL. And again, if you are using another API, which is a good idea because this is how you really learn, it's by like modifying the things we do and just try to do other stuff. Anyway, I'm going out of topic. Let's just copy this and paste it inside this little link. Okay, so you don't need to put HTTP with the URE.https. So we will delete this because this will automatically add it inside. Okay, so if you go over, you will see that if you put an example, the URE will return HTTP and everything. So this will end all this stuff. After this, you will need to remove the random, the path. So we will remove this and paste it right there. Because if you go over HTTP, you will see that you require the authority, which is the website, boardapi.appberrily.com, and you need the unencoded path, which is the random. Okay. Next, if you go over, you will see that you can put some query parameters. These are some parameters. By example, you know, when you go on some website, I don't know if we will have some example. No, not right now, but sometimes you go on a website and you have some sort of a question mark and blah, 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 some query. This is where you can use them. Okay, that's the goal. So we will delete them because we don't need it right now. And after this, you see that we have an await. What we do when we have an await, we create an async in order to tell Flutter that we can use an await. After this, we have the HTTP, so we need to add the package. If we go back inside the documentation, you will see that we need to, inside this one, the example, you see that we need to add the convert and the HTTP. So let's take both of them, copy, and paste the import inside our course page. So you can see that we have two import. And we use the as convert and also the as HTTP. This just means that in order to use it, you will need to say http.get. Let me give you an example. If I change this for http HGT, I will need to change this one also for http HGHDHD. You get the point. Okay, let's put back the HTTP. And now let's keep going. So we have this information. Now what the code is doing is the response will say, I will wait for the information from the internet. So it will get the information from this URE, which is this information. This should return some sort of information like this. And after this, we say if the response status is a code 200, which means it was successful, then what we'll do is we'll say the JSON response is equal to all of this. And all of this just means that we will use the response body, which is this information, and we will convert it into a JSON response, which we can use in order to display the information. I know this is a lot of words, but you will understand once we play with it. So let's first thing first, just run the code. I think if we run the code and go inside the terminal, everything should already work. First, we need to change the JSON response for the item activity, by example. So I will just replace this for activity, and this should return a simple activity. Let's go inside the application. I will go navigate next, and click on this. So if we go inside the terminal, you see that now we have a return number of book about HTTP null. Okay, so the item count, let's just verify activity. If I have activity. Okay, that's good. We have the information, random, print number of book. I will delete this and just print the item count. like this. Okay, and let's try again just to see if we have some sort of value. Get started, next, next, and we click on it. And now you see that we have clean out your refrigerator. And this information is coming from the internet. And we get this information and we are able to use it inside our application. I just think this is incredible and fabulous to know that, whatever, I'm going out of topic, but I just think it's so cool to know how to do these things. Anyway, so that's about it for this video. As for now, what we have done is we have copied the code, but later in future video, we will modify everything. You will be able to understand how it works, and we will be able to display this information inside the visual of the application. If you already have an idea how to do this, try to do it by yourself. Otherwise, in the next video, I will show you everything step by step. So that's it. See you in the next one, and bye. In the previous video, I've talked really fast about what does the code mean. And I want to explain you a little bit more how it works. First thing first, the convert.json decode. Okay, what does the convert mean? It's just because we use a as for the import. So you need to use convert in order to use the import. But if you want, you can just remove this and it will do just the same. Okay, so right now, because I have used the API like more than 100 times, I should be declined at this moment, but later inside this course, we will be able to reuse it, okay? So let's just refresh the application and see get started, next, and say register, click on it, and now we have it, okay? So I'm still not declined, but later, if you see some sort of code like 400 something, it's because you have used the API too much time in 15 minutes. Okay, so for now, this has reset, so that's a great thing. So first thing first, we have removed this and we don't really need it. The reason we need to use as sometime is because two package or two import will be in conflict one with each other. So if two of them have the same function, it will enter in conflict. So that's why you need to use this. But for now, we can keep it like this. The next thing I want to talk about is the JSON decode. Like, why do we need to use this actually? And the reason is, if we don't use the JSON decode, the response.body is just a big string. So it will be a long string with all the information inside. But everything split with some sort of maps. So that is the reason we need to use this. Otherwise, it won't work. So we can try, and I can give you an example. If I try to print another thing, instead I will use the log for this one. So log developer, make sure that you use the .dart developer. The log is the same thing as the print, but it will print in orange instead. So we will see the difference. So instead of printing the item count, so which we should call this activity just to make a little bit more sense. If we try to print the JSON response .body like this, you will see that this is a string. So we will try it right now. Get started, click on it, and click register. Oh, I need to add a little something also. We will say body, but we will add this thing also. If I add this, you will see right away that we cannot do this because it's a string. The body is a string, all right? So let's remove this and click on it. Now you can see that this is what is print. This is an entire string, so we need to convert this information into a map of string and dynamic. So we need to convert this into a map. That's why we use the JSON decode. And the JSON decode is only available because we use the import Dart convert. All right, so now you understand a little bit more. After this, I don't think we need to talk a little bit more about this because, that's pretty much all we need to talk about. You understand this line and all those lines. If anything, just put a comment inside the video and that's it. So I see you in the next video. Bye. For this video, what we will do is we will start to convert this information into something that we can use inside the phone and display right there. All right. So for this, we will go inside the internet and we will follow this little tutorial together step by step, but we will use instead the board API documentation. So let's go down and you should be able to find this section, create a class album. So instead of creating this class, and what I will do is I will just copy this. I will go inside ChatGPT, and I will just say, you can use any personal AI, it doesn't really matter. It's just super fast. So I will say, use this class as reference for the next prompt. Okay? Like this, and boom. So the next thing will be to put this information inside. And I will just say to GPT, I will say, use this to create a class. And boom, like this. Just by doing this, not Dart, but GPT or any AI assistants will convert everything and will make it look just like what we had previously. So factory, everything should be the same thing. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing, but with what we want. So we can copy the code and we can create a new class. So we'll go inside data, and inside data, we can say new file. Let's call this one activity class.dart, or even we can create a folder for this. It will make more sense because if you have more classes inside your code, you will need a folder for this. So activity inside the class and move. Perfect. Now we can paste the activity inside and we have all the code that we need, which is pretty cool. And let me explain quickly the code. It's just a simple class. You put the information inside by using the from JSON, and you just put the JSON inside. This will convert everything and create an activity. It will return an activity, and if there is an error, it will throw a format exception error. Okay, simple stuff. So we can go inside the course page, and now we can use this. So let's go back inside the tutorial. The next thing they tell us to do is to use the HTTP response. So we are doing this already. So await, get this information, that's good. But now we need to say return album from JSON, blah, blah, blah. So we will copy this and we will change what we have currently. All of this. We will change this. So maybe we can use the 200 or just paste this. It doesn't really matter for now. I will delete this, I will delete this, and we will need to modify a couple of things. So album is not a class that we have created. Instead, it is called the activity. I will use the activity class, so I can say activity, and this will import the package automatically. You will see at the top, we have the package where it is activity class. We can delete the log package, which is the developer. We don't use it anymore. And now we have one error, and the error is probably because we don't return anything. Yeah, the void is not expected to return anything. So what we can do instead is we can store this information inside the page. We can do this by creating another variable. We can say activity, just like that. And boom. And you can see that the activity can't be null. So what we'll do is we'll say this will be a late value. Okay? A late value just means that later we will set this value, so it's okay if it's null for now. So we will set this activity value. Activity is equal to this. Great. So now we have access to this activity, and the next goal, so let me prove it to you first. I will say print activity dot activity, because it's activity is the class and activity is this little thing, this thing. Okay, so this should return one activity. Let's do this. I will restart the application, go inside the course and click on it. And now if we open the terminal, you see play a game of Monopoly. So everything still works, but we are using a class instead. So now we have access to an activity which we can use inside our application to display the information. But there will be one big problem. The thing is, this thing will not be finished once this starts. So it will start to await the information, but because we are waiting and we don't wait anything for the init state, it will start building the application right away. Okay, but you can't build this application if you don't have the data. So how can you handle this information? For this, you will need to use a future builder. The future builder will just be a little widget that you can use, and it will wait for the data in order to display this. I will show you everything in the next video. See you in the next one. Bye. Okay, so how do you use the future builder? Again, just keep in mind that if the return in your terminal is like an error 400 something, it's because you have used the limit too many times, okay? So just keep this in mind. Anyway, so now we will use the future builder. I will cut the entire padding widget. Let's cut this and say future builder. And this widget is pretty cool, you will see. First, the future, we will say get data, like this. I think it was the name. Yeah. It will not work for now because we will need to convert this into a future. We can do it right now, future. But after this, inside the builder, what we'll do is we will say command space or control space and this. This will have access to a snapshot. What is a snapshot? Is an async snapshot. First thing first, we will return what we had previously, which was the padding, okay? And now for the snapshot, let's put the type. If you want, it's up to you. If you don't like to put the type, you don't have to, but I like to do it, so that's good. After this, we can use the snapshot saying, is this loading? If it's loading, then display a loading widget. And if it's finished, if the data is finished to load, then give me the data, all right? So what we'll do is we'll say if, and there is a couple of people that don't like to put many returns, so I will try to just put one return. But yeah, so we'll create a widget like this. Oops, widget. Okay, never mind. We will do this later. I don't want to confuse you right now. Okay, so I will say if the snapshot dot connection state is equal to connection state dot waiting. So if we are still waiting for the data, then I want to return the circular progress indicator. This widget is just a loading widget. So you will see it's loading on the screen. After this, we can say if the snapshot dot connection state dot has, oops, not connection state, but has data. We can say error maybe, or has data. It's pretty much the same thing. So if it has data, then we can display the data. We can say return the padding, this entire thing. And finally, what we can say is we can say else. If all of this doesn't work, then return a center widget, which will have inside the child a text widget saying error. Okay, you can modify this to make it look better, but for now it's just simple stuff. Okay, so now you will see that we have error, and the reason is the get data isn't returning anything for now. So if we go back inside, you will see that we still have the error, and this is because the get data is not returning nothing. So that's the problem. And another thing we need to fix later is, you see how many return we have? I know some people like to put only one return inside their function, and I don't think it's a bad way to handle things. So we will change this later in a future video. So first thing first, let's fix the get data in order to see something at least. For this, we will need to, instead of define an activity, we will return the activity. And the return activity, now we can just delete this first. And we can remove the print, and that should be good. So now, oops, what is this? Not now. So if we save, you see that now it's working and we don't have the error. So now Flutter understands that we have data. But how do we use this data? So what we'll do is we'll say snapshot dot data. Now we have access to the data, and we can say this is an activity. So let's say activity is equal to this. Great. So this should still work. If I hot reload, yeah, everything still work. And now we can use this information. So instead of displaying course, we will display activity. And now let's save. And now you see that we have the activity. It's not really visible right now, but if we go closer, we can see listen to something, new music, blah, 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 blah. I will just make this a little bit more visible so you can see better. I will put another text under the widget saying exactly the same thing. Like this, I will put all the commas and save. Now you see, create a meal plan for the coming week. So it is working. And just the fact that we have built a future builder, that we request the information from the internet, and we display the information into the application by using a class, I think is just super cool. So that's about it for this one. Another thing I wanted to show you was how to remove the multiple returns, because some people don't like this. And we can do this in a couple of seconds. So what I will do is I will say widget. And the only thing we'll do is we will go through all the if condition. And at the end, we'll say return the widget. Okay? And we will remove all returns and replace them for, so let me select return. I will select all of them, the 3 of them. And I will say widget is equal to this information. So now each of them will be defined. So if the Snapchat connection is waiting, then it will define this as the widget. If the Snapchat has data, then it will define the widget as this. And otherwise, it will define the widget as center and then display this. So now if we just hot reload, you see that everything is still working, but we only have one return statement, which some people prefer this, one return widget. So that's about it, and I see you in the next video. Bye. All right, so now we need to talk about one thing, and then I want to show you one other tips and tricks that you can use in order to code like 10 times faster. So the first thing is, if you're still going through the tutorial, you will see that later this thing will tell you like, okay, you can display it with a future builder like we did, but they do it in a different way. They use the builder and they say, if there is data, then display the data. Else, if there is like an error, then display the error, and otherwise display the circular progress indicator. So there are many ways to code with Flutter. So this is another way to do it. If you prefer this one, you can take this one. It's up to you. After this, another thing I want to show you is how to use ChatGPT or any AI, it doesn't really matter, in order to generate all of this code without even like wasting time. So what we will do is we will first say we have this information. We will just go in ChatGPT right now and we'll say, okay, based on this information, I want a Flutter page code. I want a Flutter code to display this API. That's it. And maybe we will need to put some sort of information. We will need to put this. And let's scroll down to see what Flutter give us. Okay, that's good. But now we will need to change the URL. So the URL is this. Boom. Okay. So now you will be able to just copy paste really fast. So this already create the class. After this, we have a main. You will not need to copy this, but it will create a stateless widget for you, which you can just copy, and you will save incredible amount of time just by doing this. So let's wait for this to finish, and I will copy all the code inside this page, and I will show you how fast we can code with AI like this. So let's copy the code. Let's go inside the course page, and I will replace this. Boom. And paste everything. Next, we'll need to modify a couple of things. First thing first, the URL launcher, we don't really need this. After this, you have to keep in mind that with personal AI and stuff like this, you will need to tweak a couple of things. So it's not perfect yet, but it will save you a lot of time. So we can delete all of this, delete this also, remove this, and just keep the activity screen. So we will change the name of activity screen for course page. Course page. And that's good. And now the activity, we need to import quick fix and import the activity that we have inside the classes, okay, that we have created earlier. And next you will see some error. So you can say quick fix and say, the error is just that we have some sort of a line before. So we will remove all those lines. I will select all of them. This one, and this one, and delete them. Now it's better. And another thing is saying constructor for public widget should have name key. So we can fix this by going over, quick fix, and add key constructor. Okay. So you will see that personal AI are not really like perfect yet, but if you have one that is better, then use this one. That's it. Next, this is all the page that is created for us. So we haven't coded that much. We can remove the launch URL. We don't need this. Sometimes they do a little bit too much, but it doesn't matter. We can remove the elevated button, and boom, this entire code is like generated by GPT, and I just think it's so cool. And right now we have an error, obviously, so I will restart the application. I will go inside Get Started, Next, and click on Register, and click on this. And now this is loading, and boom, display everything. Isn't it like absolutely crazy? You click on Fetch Data, and it will fetch another one. So you can really code your entire application by using a personal AI, and just if you are able to plug and play the things, then you are like a machine. You are unstoppable. Anyway, I will stop with that. I'm going to another topic. It's about like AI and stuff like this, but I just think it's crazy how the future is going. I will stop right there. That's it. See you in the next one, and bye. This course is coming to an end. So you have done all the hard work, and now it's time to fly by yourself, okay? So I want to talk about a couple of things just so you get to the right track for your own path, okay? And I want to show you like the mistake I've done so you don't have to do them. You just go out and start building apps. The first thing to talk about is about state management, okay? You might heard a lot of people talk about this, like you need to use this, you need to use provider, you need to use Riverpod. Let's be honest, we don't care, okay? We don't really care. Inside this course, I've talked about the value notifier, and if you release an MVP application or just a simple app, you can use this. If your job is requiring you to use the Riverpod or provider, you can learn this. It's super simple, okay? But don't waste too much time. If it's too complex and you don't like this one, try another one, and at some point you will have one that you kind of like. Stay with it, and it just doesn't really matter, okay? Don't waste too much time like learning a lot of things for nothing. Just build apps, okay? Anyway, you will be able to do pretty much everything with the value notifier like we have talked about in this course, but if you want to use state management and you just want my opinion, I think Riverpod is pretty simple. Riverpod is like the newest version of the provider, so why not use the newest version? And after this, another one which is pretty cool is called the block. I don't see it right there, but a block is pretty cool, but it's a little bit complex. So it's complex, and also you have a lot of boilerplate code. So if you don't want to go inside this route, just try with Riverpod. It's pretty simple stuff. And otherwise, just keep the simple value notifier and everything should be fine. So that's it. I just wanted to talk about this. Don't waste too much time on state management. Start building apps. That's it. See you in the next one. Bye. The next thing is about how to create an application that have multiple language. If you want English, French, and other languages, then you need to use like internationalization Flutter apps. Pretty damn hard to say this word. But anyway, you need to use this so you can find this information online and just follow the tutorial. We will not talk about it inside this course because this is like, I don't know, it's not really useful when you create your first application. So that's why. I just want to give you a little things that at least you will have in the back of your hand, at the back of your head, if you need them later inside your Flutter journey. So at least you will know that you just need to use this Flutter localization and just follow this simple tutorial, and you will be able to use English, Spanish, and other languages inside your app. How you do this? You just need to create some sort of dictionary of all the words in English and all the words in French, and then the application will define if it's currently in French or English and stuff like that. So if you need to have multiple language, you can redirect to this information. That's it. I see you in the next one. Bye. Now let's talk about Firebase, okay? If you don't know or you don't have any server in order to authenticate user or create a database or stuff like this, you can use Firebase. Firebase is pretty simple to connect with Flutter because both of them are built like by Google, so pretty simple stuff. We will not talk about this inside this course because this is a course in its own, okay? It's really a lot of things you can do with this. By example, you can authenticate your user if you want. You can create some sort of database, live database or machine learning, anything. You can create a lot of things with this. If you have your own server or you prefer your own server, keep your own server and use like HTTP requests and stuff like that. But Firebase is a good way to authenticate your user when you start. This is what I use, very simple to do. If you want, I have some tutorial on YouTube and you can find them. So you will be able to use Firebase, authenticate user, and use a database. So that's about it. And yeah, that's about it with Firebase. If you need authenticate user and a database. That's it. See you in the next one. Bye. The next thing we want to talk about is this how to publish an application on the App Store or the Android Store, okay, the Play Store. For this, you will need to follow this little tutorial on flutter.dev. How to release application change quite often, so I cannot really do a video that will be, because it will be outdated in like 3 months. It's crazy. So the only thing you have to do is go on this website, click on deployment, build and release on Android app, and build and release on iOS app. And this will tell you everything you have to do in order to publish your application. You will see this. This is a lot of pain in the ass. Just keep this in mind. It's pretty annoying to do, but once you know and once you follow the tutorial, everything should be fine. Great. So that's about it for how to publish your application. And in the next video, I want to show you a little bit how to create some sort of animation with your application. So we will talk about this in the next one. See you in the next video. Bye. Now I want to talk about animations. So if you want to learn more about animation, first thing first, you can always go on YouTube. I have a video about every single widget with Flutter. So you will find even all the animation available with Flutter, and you can pick the one you like. But I also want to show you one inside this video, just why not, right? Because it's pretty simple to use and it can make a lot of difference inside your application to make it look a lot more cooler. So what we'll do is, first we'll go inside, we'll wrap the entire column. So I will cut this and I will use the animated crossfade. So this animation will animate a transition between two widgets. And in order to change widget, we will need to have some sort of button to trigger this animation. So the first child is just what the application will display if the value is true. And if it's false, then it will display another widget. So the first widget we will paste is what we had previously, the column. And the second child, what we'll do is I will just put a center widget, and inside a child, and inside I will say image.asset, and I will use the path of the image. We think it was asset slash image slash, I think it was background.jpg. And yeah. So the crossfade state, if you go over, you will see that you need to use a crossfade state widget. I will say crossfade state dot show first for now. Okay, we will modify this later. After this, the duration, if you go over, you need to use a duration widget. So you say duration, and the duration will be in millisecond, and it will be 300 milliseconds. It's a good number for animations usually. So if I save, you see that we still have the first widget, which is the column. But now we need to change this for the second widget, show second. Now you have seen the little animation. If I do it again and put the first and save, you see how you have some sort of animation, okay? This doesn't look that much great, but if you have two widgets that look alike, by example, if you have another center widget, which I will show you, I will delete this, the column, I will paste the center widget, and I will use the other image, which was icon.png, if I remember. And no, it was not that. So let's go inside asset, image, it was logo.png. Logo.png and save. Now you have this, and now let's change for show second and save. You see the little animation, the transition, this is what I mean. So we will change this for 500. And in order to use it, what you will need to do is, first thing first, I will put back the padding, the column. And I will change this for 1000, so it will be very slow. What you need to do is to create some sort of buttons that when you press on it, it changes. So you will go, for example, in the app bar. In the app bar, you should have an argument called actions, and actions is just right there, all the buttons right there. I will use an icon button, and this one will have a function empty for now, and an icon which have icons dot let's say switch access shortcut. It doesn't really matter for now. I just want to show you how to use the animation. So this will use I don't think we need to use a set state for the animation. Let's try it without first. We will say we'll create a variable. So we will say right there or right there. Boolean is first is equal to true, and then we can change this value inside the icon button. We can say is first is equal to the invert of is first, and that's it. So now when we press on this, we should see the animation, and it doesn't work. So I will refresh the app, click get started, next, register, click on it, and let's try again. You see that this doesn't work. So I think yeah, and the reason is we don't even use this information inside the crossfade state. We need to use this. We need to say if it's first, then crossfade state dot show first. Otherwise, if it's not first, then we will say crossfade state dot show second, and now it should work. So every time you press the button, now it should translate and convert into the other one. So let me just hot reload and do it again. And now it doesn't work because we don't use the set state. So yes, we need to use the set state. I will say set state and put this information inside. And now let's save. I will just hot reload and try it again. And now you see that it is now working. We have some sort of animation. It's not the best animation you will see in the world, but at least you know how to use them. And if you want more animation, I have a video that explains every single animation on YouTube. So you can go there and look at it. So that's about it, and I see you in the next video. Bye. First thing first, I want to personally congratulate you because you have finished the course. Not a lot of people finish things, and you are one of them, which is one of the best quality you can have. I've heard once, lazy people don't start. After this, it was loser don't finish. And at least you know you are not a loser because you have finished. That's great. And third, legend never stops. And this has a big impact in my life. So hopefully it has with you also. But yeah, congratulations for finishing this course. Not a lot of people do this. After this, I want to show you a little bit what we have done inside this course so you can look back and see, oh, damn, that's the big picture. We have learned all of this, and now I'm able to like build application with Flutter by myself. Because with all this structure, with all this framework, you are able now to build application by yourself. You have all the tools available, okay? Let's talk about them. We have talked a little bit about the key concept, like a widget inside widget, stuff like this. A widget is a capital letter, and our argument is a small letter, and stuff like this. We have talked about the basic layout, like all the basic widget, column, row, container, sized box, and stuff like this. Okay. After this, we went into master layout, more like the scaffold, the material app, and stuff like this. If you understand what I'm talking about right now, it's because you understand Flutter. Okay. You have learned things that you didn't know before, and that's great. Next, the two-step formula to debug, to fix your bug. That was pretty simple. The stateful, stateless widget, if you want to refresh the screen or not. The user input, how the user can interact with the application, buttons, text field, and yeah, things like that, gesture detector. Next, we have talked about basic routing, so how to navigate inside your application. So I think this should be right there instead, navigator, and this should be right there. Yeah, my mistake. So let's save. And after this, we have talked about clean UI. So how to create an application that look a little bit better. For example, you could use the widget clip or rect, or you can use the, for example, circle avatar, stuff like this. Just widget that are not the layout, but make the application look good. And next, we went into package management. So how to use package in your application to create something better. For example, I think it was which package have we talked about? If we go inside the popspec.yelm, we have talked about the Lottie package, how to add animations, visual animations, which is pretty cool. Shared preference, how to save data locally on your phone. This is super important to know, so we have talked about this. And how to add the Flutter launcher icon, HTTP. But there are so many dependencies or packages that you can use inside Flutter. We have just talked about like the most important ones. So let's go back inside our little thing. It's not inside this. It's inside the other internet. After this, we have talked about the responsive UI. So how to create an application that is responsive, either for an iPad or a Mac or anything. That's pretty cool. And for this, you use usually the layout builder and stuff like this. Next, we went into networking in the previous module. And networking was the HTTP request, how to get the data from an API. And with this, you can build any application. You have all the tools to build any application. You can get the data from the internet. You can get the data from a server. You can create an authentication with Firebase. We haven't talked about Firebase yet, but later inside this video, I will show you the step you need to take. If you want to go this route, it's up to you. But with the networking, you are able to do everything with the internet. And if you merge this with with package management, which we were using the shared preference, if you merge this with this, you can save the data into the phone also. So this is really powerful. And now, right now, we are inside this module. Are you ready to fly high? Which is just like the next step you can take in order to make your journey even like bigger. So that's about it. With this, you are now able to build your mobile app, which is really great. So if you want to go to the Firebase route, it's up to you. If you have another server that you prefer to authenticate user and have a database, use your own. Okay, I will not force you. I will not force you to do anything. Okay, so I've started with Firebase. I think it's pretty simple when you start, and I think it's cool. So what you will need to learn is how to set up Firebase, how to authenticate your user, how to create a database, and how to create a real-time database and data management. Okay, by example, how do you manage the fact that you receive the data from the internet, and how do you save this on the phone, and how, when you start the application, where do you get your information about? Do you get it from the internet first or in the phone? So many questions that we can answer maybe inside another course about Firebase. I'm not sure if I will do this course anytime soon or anytime in the life, because yeah, anyway, that's about it. So again, big congratulations for you. You have finished your course, and that's great. Thank you for watching. Thank you for taking this course. Thank you for taking the time to learn Flutter and to learn with this course. You could have learned with any course, and you choose this one. And my English is terrible. I won't lie, my English is terrible, and you have still take this course. Hopefully, it's because it's simple to understand, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. Thank you for taking the time to learn everything and taking this course, and congratulations.